This is an interview with Withered's singer and guitarist Dan Caycedo on Saturday, September 4th, 2021 by Nick Burkell. Now, Dan, how did you get your first guitar?
My first guitar, yeah. So once I was about 16, maybe 17, I'm not sure. No, actually, yeah, 16, 15, something like that. Got this like blue electric guitar. It was a PV. It's like a funny like blue with blue sparkle in it, I guess. But yeah, that was my first electric guitar. I had an acoustic before that. It was just a janked out high action type of harmony acoustic guitar. But I don't know. It was just crap that I could barely it was like a couple of $100 worth of gear, more or less.
Did you take any private music lessons over the years with things like tutors, private schools, or conservatories?
The only thing I really did was when I first started playing guitar, I did have a music teacher. Guitar teacher was actually a folk guitar teacher. He was more in the line of just folk music, and not really what I was interested in at the time. I mean, I grew up as a metalhead, but I didn't know shit about playing guitar. So he was my first guitar teacher for a whole year, and he showed me like basically all the chords and basically how to do different strum patterns. Kind of egg him on and be like, hey, can you show me something rock oriented or whatnot? And he'd be like, no, that's not what I do. It's just like mainly just showing me what I needed to know to get going. And I had a couple of other teachers after that, but it was very minimal. I kind of just from there just learned on my own for the most part.
Now, what band would you say you really cut your teeth in as a musician?
Let me think here. That would probably been back in the late '90s. A band called Leech Milk was Leech Milk was basically a sludge doom project, and I initially got pulled into that group as a singer, and there was already a guitar player in the band. But after about a year and a half or so, I started playing guitar for that group. The band only lasted about 3 years, but that was really the project that kind of got my mindset on doing tours and really doing some good, decent recordings and whatnot. We did a few tours together with that group. So yeah, that would have been that. That would have been the first one.
What was it like for you joining Withered?
I got called in by Mike Thompson back in 2017. He had called me. And we've known each other since the '90s in different groups and whatnot, but we've always kind of been in touch. But he called me and asked me to join the group, and I was a little hesitant at the time because it was not really something I was used to playing, because they do obviously a lot of different styles, but a lot of it kind of like the whole tremolo picking kind of stuff, which I wasn't used to. But I thought I'd give it a shot, and over the course of 6 months to a year, it really kind of sunk in. This is Withered is definitely something that I appreciate a lot and I enjoy. So yeah, it was an interesting time because I wasn't. He kind of really unexpected, and yeah, we kind of hit the ground running after that. So it was good.
For you, when it comes to past albums from Withered, what's your favorite and why?
Probably, well, the first one, Memento Mori, kind of really sunk in and hit me hard when they first did that album way back. I think it was way back, but I remember vividly seeing them live back then, and obviously like songs like uh, what was it called, Locust, And I mean, there's so many songs on that album, but that specific song kind of hit me like a ton of bricks, and it was just like, holy shit, this is that album for me from the get go, for sure.
What kind of things did you need to deal with as a musician as you were writing this album that changed the feel of how you normally compose music because of the pandemic being part of the backstory of the writing of this album?
It was interesting because we actually started writing in 2018, and so the pandemic obviously didn't happen until 2020. But when we finally started recording the album, that was February of 2020, and we luckily enough, we were able to record all the music before the pandemic hit. However, we didn't get any of the vocals done. So with the pandemic, it kind of gave us some time to really sit down and talk about the lyrics. And I basically put the lyrics up. Like, it was not really intentional, but it just happened this way that basically every other song was like the lyrics is which I wrote, and then Mike would write lyrics for the other songs. And it was interesting because it definitely gave us time to really work on that versus getting rushed into recording vocals, because our idea back in 2020 was to hit the road late spring, early summer of 2020. So obviously that didn't happen. So we just obviously spent the time just working on vocals and honing all that stuff in. But there was always, whenever stuff like this happens, a pandemic or other than the Iraq war, but it's not really, I don't think that really counts. But you think of those situations, and life kind of just takes a hard turn. So you have to kind of rethink. It's like, how are we going to adjust to this? And honestly, I didn't really know if we were going to be able to tour anytime soon, like within the next few years. Yeah, I don't know. It's just been a crazy past 2 years now, trying to deal with all of this, for sure. But it's been good. We've been able to be progressive and definitely get some stuff done.
For you, what would you say were the three most satisfying songs for you to finish?
Satisfying, probably, yeah. Casting and Weight was definitely an interesting one that we got through. And then the Predation, which is one of the songs that I wrote lyrics for. That one was it's a kind of a roller coaster of a song. It's got a lot of crazy tempo. It's a punisher for sure. And then of course Dissolve is the other one Dissolve was really the first song that we wrote together for this album. And so that was definitely satisfying to hear that finally completed on the recording.
Now, what was it like playing your first show back last month?
It was pretty intense. It was really good for months for that tour, for that show, because we'd been out of practice for a long time because there was no reason to practice before. And but the show went really well, and we felt like it was pretty welcoming to do it again. Like, it was like, okay, it's the world isn't completely out of touch with music. It's definitely do want to see bands again and live music. So it was really good. It's good for us. Therapeutic, I guess you could say.
Now, for your music video for Dissolve, you shot that at an abandoned theater. Did it have any interesting backstory, or did anything interesting happen during filming?
Yeah, so I actually found out about this a little after the shoot, but the theater, I didn't know really anything about this theater. What we call East Atlanta Village, which is this little strip of like bars, restaurants, clubs that it's kind of really tucked away. You don't really notice it because it doesn't say anything on the front. But when you go inside and you see how massive it is, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty surprising to see that it's there. Because from the street, it looks like a two-story building. You don't see any theater from that view. But anyway, I found out after the video shoot that the theater was actually built back in the 1920s. So it's over 100 years old, and I was like, "Holy shit! This is crazy. It's a relic." It's like they did they used to have movies back in the day in that theater, but it's been abandoned for so long. It looks like it's haunted for sure. You go in there, you're like, holy shit! It's pretty creepy. It's got that that just a weird, mysterious vibe to it. Um, Nothing really unusual happened when we recorded the video or did the video, but it was definitely eerie. We enjoyed that for sure. That was good.
What are your three most cherished albums in your personal collection?
Um, Let me think about that. You're gonna have to give me a second. When I think of albums, I do have vinyl records in my. That's really the only thing tangible that I have. The CD, like all my CDs are gone. Like I basically got rid of all that stuff since everything is online. But I guess when it comes to vinyl, oh man, the one that sticks out the most is actually a Miles Davis album. It's "Bitches Brew," which is just amazing double album that Miles Davis came out with back in it was the late '60s, early '70s, I believe. That one is just incredible. I've listened to that from from the time I got it for like I don't know $10 back in the early '90s till now. Definitely, that's one of them. What's another one? Let me think here. One that really stuck out with for me was Through Silver and Blood, but I don't have that on vinyl. But that definitely, um, I I did have it on CD at one point, but obviously it's online. It's just listening on Spotify all the time. But Through Silver and Blood is really a heavy one that's always been in the back of my mind, for sure. And then maybe one more. Oh yeah, His Hero Is Gone. So His Hero Is Gone. It's just like a DB crust punk kind of band that really honed it in for me back in the early 2000s, and I've got a couple of their records in my collection. So yeah, I'll go back to every now and then for sure.
Favorite urban legend or ghost story from living in Atlanta or Georgia in general?
Let me think about that. It's urban legends, man. Yeah, I mean, I do like to read up on stuff like in the day I used to read up a lot on Native American um, culture and history. Um, Not really an urban legend and whatnot, but it is something that I was always curious about was the Cherokee Nation. As far as obviously they really weren't located in Atlanta. It was more like a northwest Georgia area, but their quote unquote capital of their nation, of the Cherokee Nation, is up there in northwest Georgia, and I've actually been up there and visited. There's really nothing there. It's just overgrown weeds and stuff like that. But interested in just knowing about the history of the Cherokee Nation and just Native Americans in general. But I'd have to say that for sure right now.
Final words.
Final words. Yeah, please. Brand new album for Lauren. It's definitely my best accomplishment myself, at least what I've done musically throughout my career as a musician. And we definitely have a high. We feel highly special about this album, and we're going to be on the road in December with Primitive. Probably going to go up. I think we're playing a festival in Chicago in early December. But yeah, please check us out, and we're gonna be on the road a lot, definitely next year. So if you can come and see us, whatever city we're in, for sure.
This has been an interview with Withered's singer and guitarist, Dan Caycedo, on Saturday, September 4th, 2021, by Nick Purcell.